And it's time to prepare for the trading week. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky here with AttackBot Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. Today is October 1st, and we are preparing for the first trading day of Q4 of 2023. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. This is the Webull trading application. It's the trading brokerage that I personally use. Just because I use it does not mean that you have to, but I do want to remind you that if you do want to download it, they do have a free sign-up bonus that you'll earn up to 12 free shares just for signing up and depositing $5. If you're tired of your old and outdated brokerage, I want to remind you that you can have more than just one trading platform, especially if you're trying to get around that PDT rule. So again, fifth link in the description down below. And again, you'll earn up to 12 free shares just by using my link and with your initial deposit to be at least $5. I'm pumped. I'm excited, right? I got a lot of positive feedback from that video that I uploaded yesterday about the 5 trading rules that I plan to follow in the month of October. I think a big part about trading is not only wanting to get better, but obviously, drawing kind of that plan and putting it into fruition of like, what's the plan that I'm working towards to hit that goal, right? And for me, I looking back in September and kind of just seeing what I would like to do better in October. I'm very excited, right? Just to kind of recap, if you guys didn't check out that video, we talked about the importance about closing out a position size, closing out the position every day, just making sure that the day trades don't turn into swing trades, to not overtrade, knowing when to walk away if you hit your goal and or if you're just not working well with the market, just to move on with your day. As again, there's 252 trading days a year. There's no reason to overcomplicate it if you're, just one of those few days that you're not working well with it, right? The idea of being selective and waiting for full confirmation. I mean, the list goes on. If you guys didn't check out yesterday's video, I would encourage you to check it out, especially if you're an absolute beginner and maybe you are struggling with the market. I really do believe that even some of the challenges that I'm experiencing or some of the areas that I want to improve on, I can almost reassure you that there are probably areas that you're trying to work on as well. And I think that's the beautiful thing about trading, is that there's no such thing as being perfect. We all make mistakes. The whole idea should be just working and getting better. So I really hope that you guys learned something new in this video. If you guys do, please make sure you absolutely smash that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to partake in today's live stream, you do have to be subscribed. So feel free to share your top stock in that live chat, and I would be more than happy to break it down. I do want to remind you that every stock that I break down in this video is 100% just my opinion. I make mistakes all the time. What I say and or my opinion itself is not fact, right? The market ends up deciding what it ends up doing at the end of the day. Please make sure that you don't put yourself in a position in which you cannot tolerate, right? You always have to look out for yourself. And one thing that I always like to encourage our LPP team is this is a market where you want to be selfish. You always want to focus on yourself and what's in the best interest of your future self. And I don't feel like you should be shy about that, right? So if what you're doing isn't working and, kind of like the AMC traders, I just always find myself throwing them under the bus. But the idea of like, no, hold, we're doing this for the movement. They're trying to do things for one another. It's like, yeah, you all obviously want to see other people win. But at the end of the day, your focus is to focus on yourself, to work on getting better, and to lock in profits when it makes sense. So a big goal to be is to not be an AMC trader or an AMC back hold. I think that's a better comment for them. So let's go ahead and break this down. Overall NASDAQ market, I was looking at NASDAQ futures. NASDAQ futures are up, and look at this. We're nearly at 15,000 for NASDAQ. For those that are unaware, you might be like, well, Ricky, what's the significance of this? This is an area that we've tested before, then we got rejected. We're going back for a retest. NASDAQ market has been trying to recover, right? We've been talking about this as we look at this on the 1 hour time frame. This might look confusing. It's really not, right? This is an overall uptrend. It pulled on back. It found a support here. It pushed up. It pulled on back. It's testing the same support range. That's all that I view this as, right? There's, it's just levels of like, what's it called? Buying pressure and selling pressure. And right now we're challenging and testing this support range based off of previous patterns, right? Right around this like 350, 360. For those that are unaware, this is QQQ, which is a NASDAQ ETF. We're testing this general area, right? So it bounced here right around 360. It picked up all the way back up to 380, and then it got rejected. A lot of people laughed. A lot of people didn't understand why I was so just bringing awareness of like, hey, we're at a previous support range, but guess what, right? Patterns tend to repeat themselves. I know that they don't have to, right? Which is why I haven't entered my swing trade, as we are not showing signs of higher highs and higher lows above this EMA. But I think this week will be a good week to kind of determine if we break above this EMA, then we're going to work towards recovering back up to the 380. But if we get rejected, then we're most likely going to go back down here to retest and see if we sell off below 360, 350, and see if we continue to sell off. But again, NASDAQ market testing that 15,000 resistance range. So again, a critical range that's very important, because if we do break above that, you guys need to remember that when we broke below it, there's a lot of selling pressure that followed. So normally if we break above it, normally buying pressure follows, but we'll see if we get that confirmation. So I do see that Dawson is asking for me to break down American Airlines. I would love to break that down. So if we look at this on the day chart, 4-hour time frame, you guys know that American Airlines, especially if you're part of my LPP team, I love talking about American Airlines. It's one of my go-to swing trades. You might be like, what the heck? That's so weird. Why American Airlines? It's just one that I have fun with. It tends to trade within that same general area, right? You see this? Right around $12 is where it tends to find its support, and then it tries to tries to run up to right around $15.50 to $16. So if you do the math percentage-wise from lows of 12 to highs of 15, that's a 30% ROI. Even if I catch half of that, again, 15% is a huge return for me based off of what I trade with, right? So we're testing our previous support range. I want to remind you, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. We do not have confirmation of an uptrend. It's still an active sell-off. If you look at this on the 4-hour, right, it's continuously getting rejected by that EMA, right? Lower lows, lower highs. Let the sucker sell off. There's no reason to overcomplicate it. But if we do begin to indicate signs of reversal, it's going to be very easy to see, right? What has it been doing for the past month? Getting rejected by this EMA. So what am I looking for? The break above the EMA and progress above the EMA. That's all. That's all I'm looking for. At that point, I would feel comfortable opening a light position, maybe $5,000 or $10,000 in American Airlines, and then I can add more to it. But again, just because I choose to take a position doesn't mean that you need to, and my confirmation is not your confirmation. We all see value in different ways, and I want to remind you of that, right? So make sure you set up your criteria, and if it makes sense, then you go for it. But at the end of the day, do not put yourself in a position in which you simply cannot tolerate. So on the 4-hour time frame, I think this is a beautiful setup, but I'm not going to overcomplicate it. If it continues to sell off, if it goes down to 11, if it goes down to 10, whatever the case might be, I'll allow it to sell off. I just want to buy when it makes sense, right? That's one of my big rules for October, is just having an intention behind every action that I choose to take. To not trade just because I can, but to trade because it makes sense. So that's going to be a big focus for myself. So do you get 5 to 10K from percentage of your total account, or do you just like 5 to 10K? Yeah, normally, Dawson, that's a fair question. The position that I normally take on American Airlines is about $25,000 to $50,000. I normally don't. It's just a fun swing trade for me, but I view it as a riskier swing trade, so I don't try to go in too heavy. So my max position will probably be $50,000, unless it goes really well and I see more potential. Maybe I might go in with 75K. But I do it more for fun. It's just one that I really, my LPP team loves to see me swing trade this. When we get confirmation and when it begins to pick up, right, I just want to make sure that I'm very calculated with the way that I choose to enter and the way that I choose to exit. And again, it's not a make it or break it. There's no reason to overcomplicate the trading. I want to stay light in the beginning and then average up when it makes sense, when direction is favorable. So I appreciate the question, Dawson. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right. What's going on? Stay Green. What's up, my guy? Hope you're having a good Sunday. So can you break down Amazon, please? I personally think that it will be bullish. Well, Amazon's a big tech company, right? So Amazon, again, a big focus for this is how the NASDAQ market overall ends up performing. So you heard us talk about QQQ, right? So QQQ is a NASDAQ ETF. So if NASDAQ market continues to sell off, right? So if all of a sudden, for some apparent reason, if this thing ends up going in the red, then Amazon will most likely sell off as well. It's not exact, but again, you have to understand NASDAQ is a composite of big tech companies. Amazon is one of those, and it has an influence, meaning that if NASDAQ begins to sell off, then its influence to that individual company, Amazon, will most likely either drag it down or drag it up, right? Just depending on which way NASDAQ is going. So I think Amazon has an amazing setup. It's recently pulled on back. It's became oversold enough that it is attractive, and I do see why you're paying attention to it. It offers about 14% ROI. But again, the big question is this the lowest range that it's going to hit. We're testing previous support range, but we've broken below the moving average. We've broken below the EMA. We have no indication of a recovery yet. We're still trading below the EMA, and that's the big question. A very simple question to ask yourself. On this 4-hour time frame, I think it's very easy to see. Are you missing out by not being invested? And as of right now, it's safe to say that no, you're saving money by not being invested right now because it's selling off. But if it begins to indicate signs of recovery, then again, that picture can begin to change. And this is what we talked about also in yesterday's video, is giving the market or giving the stock enough time to paint its picture of what it's going to do. And I often find myself, and I know I can't be the only one, that sometimes finds himself taking a position before the picture is actually drawn, right? Let me know in the live chat if this is a common bad habit of yours. So again, what's a very simple step that we can all do so we don't make that mistake? You just wait. And it seems so simple, and people laugh at it, but you literally give it just time for it to paint its picture of what it's going to do, and you choose to act when it makes sense, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. But yeah, I just want to see indication of a recovery. And if I see that on the 4-hour time frame, then I can also entertain that idea. Let's go ahead and move on to Carvana. So Carvana has been showing steady signs of a recovery. It is overbought based off of recent patterns. And you might be like, Ricky, what are you talking about? This thing looks bullish as heck. It's because I know how Carvana has been trading. And if we take a step back on the day chart, boom, again, that paints a different picture, right? Huge sell-off from highs of 376. It's lost about 98% of its market cap valuation. At one point, Carvana was worth over $30 billion, and now it's worth 7.95. At its lowest point, it was worth about 2 to 3 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, it is doing well, right? And if you want to take the risk, then that's on you. But I'm seeing lack of progress. If you think that it's going to break above EMA and then rip back up, all power to you. Again, very simple setup. It's just, are you missing out by not being invested on that trade? As of right now, it's still trading below the EMA, so I don't see a reason to have that open trade. But I could see that if it breaks above EMA, breaks above moving average, and begins to rip up, if you see that ROI potential to be worth it, then that's on you. I just don't see the downside risk to be worth it. It's too risky. It's been too bearish. It just doesn't meet my criteria. And just for myself, I just would rather not choose to take that risk. But again, we all see value in different ways. Just because I don't choose to be that risky doesn't mean that you can't, right? I'm not going to be like other people where they're like, you should trade like this, or you should trade be more aggressive or be more conservative. You're an adult. You can do whatever you want. I just choose to trade the way that I choose to trade, and I explain my thought process behind it, right? It makes sense to a lot of people. And I think, right, all I can ever encourage you to do is to just have whatever it is that you're doing actually make sense. If you're just taking trades and none of it makes sense, then again, you're just in a cluster of mess. So let's go ahead and break down AMD. What's going on, my guy? Let's see. Christian. Yep, there we go. Let me see a show of hands in the live chat. How many of you guys have participated in our M4 giveaway? Real quick, if you guys weren't aware, our M4 giveaway officially started today. So that's the BMW M4 competition package. Look at this beauty, or $50,000 cash. It all started today. And I do want to remind you that every item you end up purchasing on the site automatically enters you for the giveaway. So just a little heads up on this. I also do want to remind you that the mystery box, it doesn't show here, but once you purchase it, it will show. The mystery box actually gets you 1,000 entries instead of 825. So that is a bonus entry. And also just a quick little hack. If you don't want to miss out on exclusive deals, you need to join the VIP text club. I can reassure you that if you are actually entering the giveaway, this is not a text club you want to miss out on. There's specific deals, there's bonus entries, there's refunds, prizes that are given just to the VIP text club members. And if you don't want to miss out, and if you're already participating in the giveaway, then again, join that VIP text club, and that's at shoptechbuds.com or the fourth link in the description down below. So AMD, lower highs, lower lows. What do we see here? Is it weird for me to think that we're going to get rejected by this moving average? You guys let me know in the live chat. What do you guys think? Are we getting rejected by that moving average? What do we see here? We run up, we get rejected, we sell off. We run up, we get rejected, we sell off. We run up, we test the moving average, and we sell off. We run up, we test the moving average, and we sell off, right? RSI, MACD, I mean, this is a textbook setup of a possible rejection. Now, again, indicators mean nothing. It's not certain that this thing has to sell off. At one point, it most likely will break above the moving average and then try to run up. but I'm just saying, right? As of right now, we are more overbought. So before confirmation, this is where I think a lot of people get confused. So they're like, okay, Ricky, so what would you do here? What I would do is it's overbought enough that it wouldn't make sense for me to try to enter early before the break above the moving average. Now, if it breaks above the moving average and it begins to show signs of progress, now it's doing something that it hasn't done before, right? It's actually indicating signs of higher highs and higher lows. Now that could be a reason on why to enter. But before that, it's too risky, right? Buying here is, to me, a sign of a potential resistance and a potential rejection all the way back to $95. So because of that, I would have to say it's too overbought and it's too early for the potential confirmation. And that's why I would personally want to hold back on that. So learned it from Ricky at LPP team. Let's go. What's going on, Marcos? I like that. So looking great to be looking for a rejection. Yeah, so it's overbought. All the indicators are indicating that, but also, again, it's just a strong descending pattern based off of recent patterns. So I think it's the same setup for NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA, a little bit of a different setup. We are testing the moving average, but not full on confirmation on that. So we'll have to double check on that. But let me go ahead and let me do 3 more, right? Because we did QQQ as well. So let me go ahead and do 3 more and then see if we can break 3 more down. So share it in that live chat. Would be more than happy to break it down for you, and then we can go from there. All right, INTC. Christian, I appreciate you taking time and actually posting it in the ticker call out format. You are an OG for that. Really do appreciate it. So Intel has been struggling, right? I always like to take a step back. That's a big thing for me. I always recommend it for our LPP members. It's making sure that you do yourself a favor and try to get the overall bigger perspective. Sometimes it's hard to see where, you look at the 1 hour time frame or maybe the 4 hour and you're like, wow, this is so bullish. Why wouldn't I want to buy the dip on this? And then if you just look at the day chart, you're like, oh, dang, wait, I didn't see this, right? It has a history of selling off. Again, just you get to see a different picture. But overall, right now, based off of recent patterns, yeah, higher lows, higher highs. I see why you're paying attention to it. We're at that critical range, 100%. You're breaking above EMA, you're breaking above moving average. Now it has the potential to potentially run up. I see why you're paying attention to it. And on that textbook setup, yeah, it would meet my criteria. I just don't like Intel and its history of it selling off. So because of that, I wouldn't trade it. But again, just because I wouldn't do something doesn't mean that you shouldn't. And one thing that I do want to remind you is, again, the idea for me is that this position has to be showing signs of progress. It would suck to buy here and then it would just end up getting rejected, right? So it's good that you waited for specific steps, but now you have to remind yourself, are we showing signs of progress on the upside? And this is day in and day out. If it begins to lack progress, if it begins to pull on back or break below the EMA or the moving average, at that point, again, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. So that's where risk management comes in place. So just as much as you think about how much money you're going to make, you have to also take into consideration of how much money you're okay and tolerating with potentially losing behind each trade, right? If not, then it's just going to be a surprise. But loss is inevitable. It's going to happen. Your job's not to avoid it. Your job is to manage it. So let's go ahead and break down 2 more. I'd be more than happy to break down 2 more for you guys. Feel free to share it in that live chat. So Robert, is that a ticker 4? Okay, looks like a lower cap company. I could see based off of its volume is very low. So first off, I wouldn't trade anything with this kind of volume. It's just too low for me. Just because I wouldn't trade it doesn't mean that you shouldn't. It's just, I'm just telling you, it's a strong descending pattern based off of recent patterns. It also recently sold off. Too much inconsistencies out of every stock that is out there. I don't see why this one would be the stock that I would want to buy. Is it just because you just hope that it just begins to recover back to 175 or to highs of 100? But as of right now, I mean, it sold off. It tried to recover. There's a lower high here on the bigger picture. Let's look at the week chart. Yep, lower high. Now it's below that EMA, and it looks like it could potentially rip back down. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it finds its support here and then tries to pick back up. There's just this choppiness, this inconsistency, the lower volume out of every stock that's out there. I mean, INTC to me is a better setup than this. It's been more consistent based off of recent patterns. And that's the question. What are the best stocks this week, right? There's nothing wrong with having this in your watch list if maybe it has more of an ideal setup later down the road. To me, as of right now, I just don't see that. So if you were to buy into something like that and it sells off, would you have decided whether to cut losses or average down day trading or swing trading just based off of progress and confirmation? I would not average down on something, right? Very simple concept. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it emotional. Don't make it personal. When it comes down to averaging down, to me, it's simply an excuse for you to justify your first position, because your first position before confirmation is, to me, normally a smaller position. And to me, your first position is the risky one. And you buying at a lower price is at that point, to me, just an excuse of it's not going according to plan, but I don't want to lose. So I'm just going to buy at a lower price. But what do we know? The cheap can always get cheaper. And it's a tough pill to swallow, but trust me, this is just from my experience, and that's all I have to speak from. Losing $50 or losing $100 is much better than losing $500 or losing $1,000. And I can only speak from my experience. I'll let everyone else kind of share their 2 cents, but I can reassure you that, again, your job is not to be perfect. Your job is not to avoid risk. Your job is simply to manage it. So my focus every single time is if there's a break of pattern and you were explaining it to someone, you wouldn't be explaining it to them of like, I'm just going to buy more as it's still selling off. Because all you're doing then is you're fueling something that's losing you money, more money. And explain to me in what concept that makes sense. That was your initial position, right? So let's keep it simple. Not personal, not emotional, not justifiable. It's just no excuses. It's, hey, this thing's going south. I'm just going to cut it out. Close it, reduce my position, or reduce my potential loss, keep it small. And then if it does get confirmation, then I can revisit that. But that is the whole point of, if you choose to buy early, that's the risk that you're choosing to take. And to me, the price that you're paying is the price of that risk, right? Very, very simple. So you let me know what you think about that. Again, that's just my opinion. It doesn't mean that you have to follow it. It's just that I have been burned enough times that I understand justifying averaging down. To me, it's just a sideways concept. It's an excuse for beginners to justify why to continue to buy something that's not going according to plan. Okay. SOXL, and we got ROKU. Let's just do these real quick. SOXL, I know this is a semiconductor ETF. There's an inverse of this, isn't there? On the day chart, too inconsistent for me, right? It was very bullish at one point, sold off. Now it's kind of trying to recover on the 4-hour time frame. I mean, I don't know what I'm looking at here. It was bullish, but now it's not. It's trading below the moving average, trading below the EMA. It could potentially rip up, but it's a descending pattern. It's like, do I want to take the risk on a descending pattern to try to go from, $19 to highs of 21? No. Out of every opportunity that's presenting itself this week, this is the last thing that I want to do. Again, a lot of people like to ask, why do I, focus on QQQ? Because I don't want to deal with this mess, right? I want the direction to be clear. I want, whatever has clear direction, whatever's, easy to understand, I want to focus on that. I don't want to focus on this. It's below moving average, barely above EMA, descending pattern. And then for this trade, not worth it for me. And again, that's just me. So let's do ROKU. All right, ROKU looking a little bit more on the oversold side. ROKU also got absolutely destroyed after the pandemic, but on the 4-hour time frame, a nice rip down. It looks like you're waiting for a reversal. I see what you're paying attention to, right? We run up, we pull back, support, run up, pull back, support, run up, pull back, support. Looks like it's done that a couple of times. We sold off. It's testing. We'll see if it breaks out. But again, the focus here for me would be locking in profits, because every time it rips up, it pulls on back. You don't want to be an AMC bag holder, right? So when in doubt, pull out. And if you ever want to remind yourself what failure looks like, just look at the AMC stock and all those that are still holding it, right? Very, very simple. So it's a tough pill to swallow, and yeah, it might be not the nicest thing to say, but again, we're not here to be nice. We're here to make money. So let's not overcomplicate it. Other than that, again, I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. Just wanted to come on in, share a couple thoughts, and break a couple hearts, I guess, for all the AMC bag holders, but I'm totally joking. Maybe I should chill out with those jokes. Overall, again, NASDAQ testing previous support. We're going to see this week, especially for tomorrow, for all those that are part of our LPP team, to see if we actually begin to validate and break above this EMA and then begin to indicate signs of an uptrend. If so, we'll go along with the bulls. If it gets rejected, we'll go short with the bears. So very, very simple. Excited for tomorrow's live trading session. If you guys, again, are not yet part of our trading team, I trade live every single day with my LPP team. It's the second link in the description down below. And if you would like to start the month of October and then 2023 with the ability to watch me trade live every single day, I would love the opportunity to work with you on a closer basis. And I want to remind you, I offer nothing else. I trade live with my LPP team and I work with them on a daily basis. It is the only service that I offer. I offer no other programs, nothing like that. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access, and it just really comes down to how bad you want it, right? if you want access to me, if you value the way that I break things down and you would like that opportunity, second link in the description down below. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. We're not going to ever offer a bigger discount than this. It's the second link in the description down below. You can sign up today and watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow at market open. I appreciate your time. Hope that earned a thumbs up. If you have any questions, shoot me a direct message. Everything is linked in the description. So if you're new here, please make sure you take some time and check that out. And again, I want to remind you, to all those that have participated in our previous GTR giveaway, I appreciate you, but I do want to remind you, now it's your chance to win, to enter this BMW M4 competition package or $50,000 cash. And today was the first day for the giveaway. So that is the fourth link in the description down below. It's shoptechbuds.com. It's for every $1 that you spend on the site, it equals 5 automatic entries. I want to remind you, do not buy anything that you're not actually going to wear or use, right? Anything that you buy in the store will automatically enter you for the giveaway. So I want to let you know, it doesn't have to be BMW related, anything you buy in the store. So a mouse pad, a trading journal, wall art, whatever the case might be, it all gets you, automatic entries. But I do want to remind you that, again, there are specific things on the site that offer bonus entries based off of what you buy. So don't forget to join that VIP Text Club. And if you have any questions, shoot me a direct message via Instagram, which is the third link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.